CleanSpark closes a new deal to acquire GRIID. Bitfarms is taking steps towards enacting that poison pill, and RIOT has gone right up to the line in terms of pushing Bitfarms. Let's go ahead and take a look at those two companies in greater depth right now, and we'll also do a roundup at the end there. But first of all, let's talk about CleanSpark here. So you can see CleanSpark, they acquired GRIID. It was a company that was in financial distress. CleanSpark came in, took over. They're going to pay off their debts, and in exchange, they're going to be getting, let's see, they have plans to create a 400 megawatt facility between now and 2026. All right, so that's great. Currently, they're getting 20 megawatts effective immediately. As soon as they plug in their miners, they'll be using that 20 megawatts. By the end of the year, where is it at? Where is it at? Here we go. Yep, by the end of the year, they're going to have 100 megawatts farming or mining, sorry, not farming, mining. By the end of 2025, it's going to be 200 megawatts, and by the end of 2026, it will be 400 megawatts. So this is actually pretty big news. Now, if they've got 20 megawatts effective immediately, now I had Gemini do some math for me here. Now, let's see. This assumption here, let me go to this one. All right, this one is assuming they've got S21s mining at full capacity, 200 terahash, no problems, at 100 megawatts, right? That would give them 5.7 exahash. Now, I took that down by 20% and assumed, okay, let's assume that it's only going to be 80% effective. I know that CleanSpark operates more at like 96%, but I like to sandbag things, so I'm not like, oh, it didn't reach my target, crazy, how did it not happen? All right, anyways, doesn't matter. I took it down by about 20%, assumed that they'd be getting about 180 terahash out of their machines. And with 100 megawatts, they would be increasing their hash rate by 5.14 exahash there. Now, that's by the end of this year. Effective immediately is 20 exahash or 20 megawatts. So that would be 20% of this. So the effective immediately, they're going to get an additional 1 exahash on top of what they've got right now as soon as they plug in those machines. That would put them at just under 19 exahash, basically 19 exahash immediately as soon as they plug in their machines. So that's great. Now they're competing. They're getting up there. They're about to be surpassing Mara there. I mean, let's see, the 17.97. If you plus that 5.14 once by the end of the year this year. So there's only 6 months left. By the end of the year, they'll be hashing at 23.11. They usually got like a 96% uptime, so they'll be hashing with 22 exahash here by the end of the year. This is fantastic news. This is big news, and as you can imagine, oh wait, sorry, and then by the end of 2025, they're going to have that up to 200. So 5.14 times by 2 be 10. So by the end of 2025, they'll be at, just with this deal, they'll be at 28.25 exahash by the end of 2025 just with this deal. And they'll have an additional 20.5, a little more, 20 and a half exahash from this deal in total by the end of 2026. So this is a huge deal. They're going to be over 20 here very, very, very quickly. And as you can see here, CleanSpark really has not responded to this news at all. Look at this. Yesterday they were down, they're flat. Today they're down 0.5%. This is not what I would expect from CleanSpark closing such a big deal and doing it kind of as a surprise. We are still just falling in price, drifting down towards that $15 mark. Now, will we reach it? I'm not entirely convinced that we will. I think we're going to likely drift like this until we get an explosive move. You can see here, let's see, there is some bullishness in this downward trend here. You can see it's coming down. Like it's a bit of a, let me see here. No, that's not right. It is a bit of falling wedge. Not a great one, but there's a bit of one here like this. And when we break above this line here, we're likely to come very quickly up to $18. We are in bearish RSI territory. Volume is negative despite this good news, so that sucks in a big way for CleanSpark. This is not what I would have expected. from this news. I would have expected something, not that one. I would have expected something more like we saw in Bit Digital, where we saw like a 14-15% day. Maybe not a 40% day, but like a big day. I was expecting kind of a big day with this news coming out, and to see it just fall flat like this is pretty brutal. Now let's take a look at the, let's see what happened in after hours yesterday. Did anything? No, even in after hours, it went up a bit and then just dropped immediately down. Now I like these wicks on the bottom here on the hourly chart. I do like that. On the hourly, we really need to get above 1633 to have a shot at coming back up to like 17. But you see how far away the 20-hour moving average is, all the way up at 1732. That is what I'm saying. Like, it can quickly run up to about 18 once we break this this downtrend that we've been in on CleanSpark right now. Yeah, something like that. We'll hit 17, we'll run into some resistance, and then we'll go right up to 18. This is a descending channel right here that, you know, it's not much of one. It's descending a bit. It's a very light descent. This is really looking like an accumulation zone right here, right? Between like 17.22 and $16. This is very much an accumulation zone right here. And this might be the bottom. Honestly, this could be like the bottom area where we're just going to vacillate between that 17 and $16. We might wick down to 15, maybe, but I don't see us like coming to any big crash anytime soon. And you can see the 200-day moving average here is just creeping up, creeping up, creeping up. I have my suspicions that we're going to collide with this thing. We might see a day where it comes flashing down to like 1374, something like that. Maybe like 1350 again. We might see something like that. Maybe even come straight to like $13, touch the 200-day moving average, and then from there we just take off. I do have a bit of a suspicion that that might be how this plays out. We might collide with the 200-day moving average sometime in the next 3 to 6 weeks, and then sometime before the end of summer, we'll see this thing just be like, woo, and take off. I would really like to see it give me a summer run on CleanSpark, but based on how it's been trading since February, we might not see it. We might not see this thing get above like 23, $24 this summer. It's very possible. Now, when it does go that high, it's going to go really, really fast. But especially since all this consolidation, man, it's going to go fast. Now, you may look at this and go, that looks a bit like distribution, and then we come down to like $5 or $8 again when we come down to the accumulation zone. But I would say that this is not a bad looking accumulation zone as it stands right now. It does look like 15 is fairly defended. It looks like it is range bound. We're going up, getting diluted, going up, getting diluted. And it will continue to play this game, I think, until we get close to the 200-day moving average. And that's, I think, where we're going to take off. And I think that will probably happen between 13 and 1350 is where we might do that. And it might be like maybe even just like a 30-minute thing where it comes down that low and then never touches it again until after the bull run is completely over. So that's what's going on with CleanSpark. They acquired GRIID. They've got 20 megawatts of power coming online, which represents about 1 exahash according to Gemini's math. They've got 100 coming online by the end of the year, which is going to be a little over 5 exahash, 200 by the end of 2025, and 400 by the end of 2026, representing a total of 20 exahash increase of CleanSpark in the next 2.5 years. And with that closure of that deal, we see nothing. So that sucks. Let's move on to Bitfarms. Bitfarms down a little bit today, down 0.5%. It's about what I was expecting. Yeah, I was expecting it to come down to the 20-day moving average, maybe vacillate a little bit, come back to the top of this little move here, and then maybe flatten out for a few days, let the 50-day catch up to us, and then take off from there. It's sort of what I'm looking for on Bitfarms here. Now, I want to see it break this line. Once it breaks this line, we'll know that it's going to go sideways a little bit and then maybe go up. And then now it might follow this trend line. It might continue to follow this trend line, honestly, and then just kind of like bounce along it on its way up. Could do that. We are looking at something of a big cup and handle. Yeah, it could do that. It could do that. But I am thinking that we'll probably be sideways long enough for this 50 to get real close, and then we'll take off from there on Bitfarms. Now the drama is the issue with Bitfarms right now. So one thing, yesterday they added a new board member, Fanny Phillip, who is a blockchain finance expert. So they added this person to their board of directors. It's apparently it isn't, they're independent. It's making their board more independent, which is what RIOT said that it wants. We'll see if RIOT lays off on the attacks. So far, you can see, according to the SEC filings, this came out June 24th. You can see that RIOT at that time had 14.9% of the company, and they stopped 0.1% under that poison pill mandate that Bitfarms has and is ready to enact. You can see here, this is Form 8A. This was filed, when was this filed? It was June 8th is when this was filed. I know that was a while back. It's like 20 days ago, effective June 10th. I had Gemini summarize this for me, basically just saying that Bitfarms has adopted a shareholder rights plan to allow the board more time to find the best deal for shareholders in case of unsolicited takeover offer. This is just saying, yeah, that 15% more or more, they can do a poison pill. That's all this 8A is saying. And then Riot went right up to the line and then stopped, because I assume they're not prepared to take on, handle the poison pill scenario with Bitfarms. I don't think that they're quite prepared for that. So they stopped right at the line, right at that red line. And that was as of the 24th. And you can see that's when they stopped buying. The 24th is when they stopped buying, and we've been dropping since. We'll see if sentiment changes soon. I'm hoping it holds. I'm hoping 250 holds. I'd really like to see 250 hold and go sideways for a couple of days. Let the volume kind of go flat a little bit. I mean, we have reset on the momentum and the volume, so we could go back up from here. But I'd like to see it go a little bit sideways. I'd like to see that 50 crawl up and maybe touch the 50, and then from there take off real fast. Yeah, as soon as we break this down, we're um, trend line here, though, we are likely to go sideways a bit, and then maybe up to the 20-day moving average, which is at 278 right now on Bitfarms. So we're watching this, keeping a close eye. We'll see if this starts ticking up in a big way. We'll know that Riot started buying again, and then they'll do their poison pill, and we'll see what's going to happen from there. But I'm pretty excited. I think this is going to be a fun little move here. Now, this isn't even that bad. We have like, if we do like waves, no, we touched that one. It's out. Never mind. But this could go up higher, test this high 328 again, and then from there, like, go try for $4 again. Well, easily could happen in a couple of days. So we're watching this real close. All right, let's do a quick roundup of our favorites here. Riot Platforms is down 0.1%. It's not really doing much. It's flagging down here. I don't like that because it's got a flat bottom here, right? Much. It's got a flat bottom right here and a slanted top on that. This is bearish. There we go. That's this right here. That's bearish. I don't like that. If we lose, um, if we lose 895, we're likely to come back down and visit 820 on this thing. Maybe even $8 flat. So if we lose this line right here, that's it. Riot's coming all the way back down to the bottom of this range. That sucks. Riot needs some good news. Riot needs to stop screwing around, and they need to come out with some good news. They need to get over themselves with Bitfarms and focus on their own company right now. Their own stock is suffering. They need to focus on their own infrastructure projects that they have in place that are going to be huge, that everyone was super excited was going to take them to 100 exahash. They need to take care of their own house right now. For Riot, that's the tough love thing I've got to say to anyone. And I got to say, I am holding some Riot, and I'm a bit upset by some of their actions, and it seems as though they're a bit distracted. And that's it. That's all I got to say about Riot. I'm sorry, that was a bit of a rant for that. I'm just getting kind of frustrated with the way that they're operating, and with the fact that they've got so much potential that it feels like they're squandering. And like, correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe I'm missing something about Riot. I would love to be wrong. Like I said, I'm holding Riot. I would like to see it do better. It's not doing better. It's just printing bearish signals after bearish signals, and they really are becoming a practice of frustration for me. I'd like to see them do a little better, be a little more focused. Anyways, moving on to Mara. Mara is doing good today. Look at that. It's up 5.98%. My calls are probably finally doing well. Now, this descending channel here, and I've been saying for a while, when we break out of this descending channel that we've been in since May 20th on Mara, if we can close out of this thing and hold above it Monday and Tuesday, hold above, at this point, hold above 1980 for Monday and Tuesday, we're going back up to the top of the range at 2273, maybe even $23. We break above $23, we are open all the way up to 26 before we really run into any resistance, and above 26, there's really not much up until the 30s. We could find ourselves in the mid 30s very, very fast on Mara here with a closure outside of this descending channel. And if we can hold it for Monday and Tuesdays, Trading sessions, I would be absolutely looking at 23 bucks, above 23, 26, above 26, sky's the limit, basically, up into like the 30s and maybe even low 40s on Mara. So Mara, this is good. I really like this little area right here, how it came up, 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 up. We had consolidated down a bit, but we never made a new low below this. And now we're breaking out of this channel right here. This to me spells 23 bucks going to 26, baby. That's what I'm seeing there with that. I really like this this structure that it's making. It had lower or higher highs, higher lows, and then there we go. Higher highs, higher lows, followed by a consolidation period where we did not take out that previous low. And now if we break out of this, boy, if we break out of this, that's so much liquidity right there. That's so much liquidity. And then this turns into like the ugliest inverse head and shoulders I've ever seen once it crosses $23 and above $23. The end of this inverse head and shoulders is honestly up there about 34 again, and we could go higher than that. So Mara is looking primed. I like it. I like it. I like it a lot. Bit Digital, what's Bit Digital doing today? Bit Digital's cooling off after this huge run up. It's got 3 days flagging up here. I actually like these 3 days of flagging here. I want to see it touch this 5-day moving average, maybe on Monday or Tuesday. I'd like to see that happen. And then once that happens, I want to see it break this trend line right here to the upside. And then honestly, we're looking at coming up to, once we break that trend line, we're looking at coming up to into the fours, like 420 to maybe even 450, maybe even to the bottom of this candle here, 450, maybe even 465. So as long as we hold above the 5-day moving average, like we hit it and use it as support, if that happens, and then we break this trend line here, we're going up into the fours. And that's what I got to say about Bit Digital. Bit Digital is just crushing it. This is one of my favorites. I love this thing so much right now. All right, anyways, moving on to CIFR. What's CIFR doing? Still operating off this blow off top I called on June 20th. It is flattening out though. I like that it's flattening out here on the 50. We might follow the 50 and stay flat for a couple of days. Let this momentum here, the RSI, maybe even get a little bit lower, you know. And then once it crosses back above 50 and we get above the 20-day moving average, honestly, we're running for all-time highs again. But we're going to flatten out here. The 50 needs to hold. If the 50 doesn't hold, we're going to come back to the 200. And the 200 is currently at 348. I think it'll probably catch us about 360. Just like back here, right? Where we like tapped it, stayed there for 2 days, and then launched. That's what I'd be looking for. Either the 50 is going to hold and we're gonna ride the 50 for a few days before going up, or we're gonna break the 50, and in like a day or two, like right here, we're gonna gap down to the 200 where we'll stay there for like 2 days, and then after that we'll just take it off again for the highs again. That's what I'm looking for on CIFR. So that's pretty interesting. Let's see what their warrants are doing. What are their warrants doing today? Down 0.3%. That's fine. What's doing with IREN? What are you doing today, IREN? Okay, so IREN has lost the 20-day moving average, and it is trading beneath the 5-day. The 5-day is now resistance. So I'm looking at 1226 for resistance on this bad boy, right? It could come all the way up to 1226, and it could come all the way down. Honestly, this isn't even that strong. I really wanted to see it get to here, but this isn't even that strong. I'd be looking for it to come down to, honestly now, I'd be looking for it to come down. Since it broke that 20-day, I'd be looking for it to come to at least about right here, about 1050. 1050 is where I'd be looking to see, how's it gonna react to that level? There's not a lot of support at 1050. And honestly, there's greater support at about 920 for IREN. But I'm just watching it right now. Watch that 5-day moving average. If it gets above the 5-day moving average, it's gonna test the 20 again at $13. If it goes to the 5-day and then fails, or coming down to 1050 on IREN. That's what we're looking at here. What we really want to see, yeah, that 5-day moving average. That's what you're watching now to see if it breaks back above that. Until it does that, it's going to be in a bearish move. Let's take a look at WULF now. WULF held at the 20. This is what you wanted to see to indicate that it might go up again. So WULF came down, hit the 20, went up, came back down, came close to the 20, and it's going back up again. It's down, it's plus 0.23% today. If we lose the 20 on this, we're going to come back down to 389, where there is a shelf there. And if we lose 389, we're likely to come down to 346 on WULF. If we hold above the 20-day moving average, so if we hold above that thing, we're gonna revisit the highs. We're gonna go over $5 again for WULF. So watch that 20-day moving average for WULF. CORZ, what's CORZ doing today? CORZ it's breaking below the 20-day moving average. This is taking a page out of the book of IREN. So we're looking at this. This is what I'm watching right now. We had a high here and a lower high. Then we broke the 20 right there. That is bearish. I don't like that. Now, if it closes above that 20-day moving average, that's fine. and then everything is fine. But if it closes beneath the 20-day moving average, I'd be watching next week very closely for 831, and then I'd be looking for this to be a double top. If this is a double top on 831, we're coming all the way down to 611 again, and we're going to hit the 50-day moving average if that double top comes through. If we close above the 20-day moving average, then we're going to hit resistance at 1014, which is that previous lower high, where we will struggle a little bit. And then if we conquer it, we're going to come back to the cycle high here at 1071. Okay, so we're watching today's close. Today's close is going to be super important on CORZ if it closes beneath the 20-day moving average. And then on Monday, it does not open above the 20-day moving average. I'm looking for it to test 831. If 831 does not hold, we could go all the way down to 611. So keep your eyes on CORZ. Be very careful right now. This is in a precarious area, especially since we made a lower high and we're coming lower off of that. All right, let's take a look at Bitcoin for the last part of the day. I actually don't dislike Bitcoin where it is right now. So a couple of things I don't like. This does look very flaggy. Right here, this does look flaggy. This could be a bear flag. If it's a bear flag, we're coming back down to the 200-day moving average at 57,900. All right, that's a quick initial thought. Okay, what do I like about this? I like that it's mostly flat here. This being as flat as it is, like here to here, like that's I don't dislike that. This could be a reversal area. Now we do need to close above 62,362. We must close above that. If we close above that, we're going to test the 20-day moving average, which is currently at 63,474. If we get a closure beneath this area, which we're testing right now, which is, what's that price? 60,500. If we close beneath 60,500, we are coming back down to 60,000 probably pretty quickly. If we do that, we're likely going to come down to the 200-day moving average of 57,000. Now, I think that will probably be where we base out and start going up again. Now, we could flag here. We could continue to flag and drift lower to $60,000 until the 200-day touches it. We could do that. I think this is going to be very similar to like what I was saying with CleanSpark, where it's going to slowly drift to the 200-day moving average, tap it, and then that's going to use that as a launch pad and just go, wow. Everyone's going to panic and go, oh no, we need a panic sale. And as soon as it hits that 200-day moving average, and then it's going to go, never mind, and then take off. That's what I'm looking for on this right now. Because if you watch this from the top here on June 7th, this is super controlled. I mean, look how tight this price action is. Look at this. This is so just tight. Look at how small that channel is. Look at how narrow that thing is. Especially if we zoom out a little bit, like look how narrow that is. If we get a couple of like, if we go to the weekly, that'll probably be like straight up and down. Yeah, look at that. It's just super narrow. And also on the weekly, 3-line strike. If next week we come in and we get a green candle, a big one, we might come in next week and get a big green candle. So we got 1, 2, 3, 3-line strike. If next week is green, that's a 3-line strike. That's all I gotta say about that. And that'll be pretty cool. Pretty cool. I'll be very excited about that actually. That came through. Now what to watch here? If we get below 56.5, we are screwed. We're having a bad time. Just like with CORZ, we came down into the 20, came up, made a lower high, and now we're coming down again. This is like the exact same chart as CORZ. Let me bring it up. Doesn't that look basically exactly the same? Like, look at that. Exactly the same. So I have the exact same analysis here on the weekly. If we get below 57.7, we're coming down to the 200, which is all the way down in the 40s, and that's going to suck. That's going to suck really hard. But if we hold here and we hit that 200-day, and the 200-day supports us, on Bitcoin, we are going back up. And I think that might be the case because this looks super controlled. Like it wasn't here. Like this was panic. This was panic. This was controlled that turned into panic. Now we have just controlled all the way, and now we're going flat. And then once this turns around and breaks this trend line here, we're going all the way back up to the highs really fast on Bitcoin. One other piece of news. Solana is getting an ETF. Van Eck applied for a Solana ETF. If you hold Solana, you are doing super well yesterday and today because of this announcement. So we've got the ETF starting to trade tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. Tuesday. Yeah, Tuesday. Potentially that's the leak that came out. We got Solana getting their hat thrown into the ring to have an ETF. Now today we're down 4%, so we gave back a good part of that run up here, which is to be expected. That's not too exciting. But if Solana gets ETF, we are going to be having just an excellent time for Solana. I was buying, I told you I was buying. I bought down here between underneath 130. I was buying all the way down to like the 120, and then I stopped just a couple of days ago. If it comes back down into this area, I will buy more Solana, especially with this new ETF coming out. 120 might be the floor. 120 could be the floor on this thing. I mean, honestly, it could even end up being like 130 now. But I think that, and of course, none of this is financial advice or a suggestion to buy, sell, or hold any asset whatsoever, just my thoughts on these charts. Solana is very likely going to get this ETF approved. I mean, Bitcoin got it approved, Ethereum got it approved. Solana's more decentralized than Ethereum. They're listing it as a commodity. I think it's going to probably get approved just like the others. It might take a little longer, but I think it's going to very likely get approved just like the others, especially if they start getting more and more applications for Solana ETFs. So that is very exciting if you hold Solana, and I do hold Solana, so this was very exciting news for me. I was like skipping my way out from my lunch break yesterday when I read that news. Anyway, so that's all I've got for you today. Please like, comment, subscribe, share this video, and have a profitable day.